Hello and good day to you. Today's video on series 2, episode 13 of 12 Crafts of Cardmaking, the technique of stenciling. We are combining background, aperture, embellishment, and scenic uses to make a greeting card design. For this project, we'll be using chalk or makeup eyeshadow. These are makeup eyeshadow, Abaddon makeup eyeshadow. We'll need makeup sponge, or you can use a foam sponge, masking tape, liquid glue, scissors, a plate to mix the color, palette plate, ball too. These are embossing ball too. I got this from Amazon. I can't remember, but between £5 to from £3 to £5 or so. I bought it with the mats, the flower forming mat. You can use it for sugar craft, millinery. You can put it on hot hob so that you can use to shape fabric, flowers, and for sewing, forming. You can use it for flower forming. We need brushes, and I'm using 3 different brushes. We have the flat, the round, and the fan. Because of the stencils we'll be using and the different effects we want to use, I'll be using different size of brush and different types of brushes. And this brush is by Lido Crelando. We need our base card. I've already stamped a logo at the back of the card, and I formed the card into a house. You can use a plain one. You can work whatever form of card you desire, fold of card you desire to make. So this is an 8-inch, but I won't be using it. You just need a base card. I'll use this house one. This was an A4 cardstock scored in half landscape wise to make an A5 portrait card. And I just trimmed this up, just trim off a little triangle up here to form the roof of the house, and added corrugated card on. If you don't have corrugated card, you can, and you have an embossing folder of this kind of design, you can place it or texture to just depend on, you can just emboss the design on another card and glue it to it. So we need cardstock. I have a cream and a white here. We're going to paint on it, and we're going to cut around to use for our embellishment. You just need one, and it has to be 135 grams because we need it to be lightweight. We want to make flowers and leaves, so we want it to coil. We need copier paper to place on our wall, to place on the work surface, so that we don't soil the work surface and ruin our card while we're working. Using acrylic paint, this is by Lido Crelando. We need die cutting and embossing machine. It's optional. If you don't want it, that's fine. And because we need that, we'll be using the die cutting and embossing machine because we'll be embossing the stencil. This is the embossing mat, and this is the cutting mat of the die cutting and embossing machine. You can use whatever you have, and if you don't have an embossing machine, die cutting and embossing machine, you can omit the process. It's I just want to give texture to the house, raise the effect. You can just do the first one and omit that, the embossing part. Just put this aside while bringing the stencil. We'll be using about four sets of stencils. We're using a Camellia stencil by Plaid Crafts. The stencils are by Plaid Crafts or Plaid Enterprise. We're using a Camellia stencil. These varieties of leaves, and the number here, the product number is WM30731E. Leaves varieties. And we have the layer trellis. We'll need them. We'll be using it too. And soft 3 stencils. We need the 3 for the effect we want. Depending on this, as we progress, you see the step where we need them. And we need this chicken stencil. The product number is 31624. We'll be using both of the stencil. One is the wire, the chicken gauze, and the other one is the hen and the cock. Okay, we have some chicks here for the border stencil. So I just put this aside and we'll start. I'll bring in a card first. What I'm going to do first is to bring so I'm going to mask the middle here because I don't want it to get soiled or stained. So this is from the layer this is from the layer trellis stencil. Just taking the mask. Take a masking tape, roll it so that it forms, it's like a double-sided. It's sticky on both sides. Place it in the middle of the mask. Okay, let me see. And place it at the back of the stencil, the mask, the stencil. Decide how you want so I'm just going to place it So we're trying to use this mask to create an aperture, but we don't want any design on this aperture now. I'll just move a lot of things from the work surface so that so we are using the marks to create an aperture. So I'll bring in the Camellia stencil. I want to use it on the background of the card. I'll place that here. And for the roof, I don't want the roof soiled or stained. I'll just place a copy of paper over the roof while I do this work. Then I'll place the Camellia stencil. I'll place it on the background of the card. We're going to create background. And using And using the makeup sponge and the eyeshadow, I'm going to just dip in little in a swirling motion. I'm going to color in. I have to place my finger so that the stencil do not move. I'm going to use a dark green. I've placed paper there so that my card don't get stained. Need another color. So just finish coloring the background, and I'll move the paper for the roof. So we still have our aperture in place, and I've colored the background. The next step, we're going to emboss. So I bring in the emboss. So we're going to emboss. And to emboss, the stencil we're using embossing is the pattern of the layer trellis. Although we've created a nice background for our aperture to take place, so that we can work on our aperture. Oh, I missed one here. There's a little space here. Sorry for that. I'm just going to quickly. And remember, you can flip the stencil. You can use whatever side you desire. I'm just going to. So we're going to place the stencil over it and emboss, because we just want a raised this like the wall of a house, so the stencil gives that effect because of the way we colored it. We just want to put that texture so when someone put their hand on it, they can feel the raised effect. You can omit this process if you don't have a die cutting and embossing machine, and also if you don't want to emboss. So I'm going to set the plate first. Large cutting plate, and because the card is doubled, you can see the full work, and because I don't want the embossing to appear on this other side because of the design of the card, I can either open it and just put the embossing mat on one side, or I can place the embossing mat in the middle. Because it fits well on the card. Oh, sorry. Because the card fits well on the plate, I can decide to just put it on the plate and place the embossing mat on one part. So I'm going to place the embossing mat up to the fold. It's not going to appear on the other back side because we don't want to emboss that. And with the pattern stencil, I'm going to place it on top. Oh, that's going to be wrong. It's going to emboss on this other side. Okay. Because it's going to emboss on this other side, I'm going to change the pattern. I'm going to change the way I'm going to emboss. So on this, not to make it emboss on the roof, I'm going to place the stencil, place the embossing mat in the middle of the card. My stencil is going to come out. I think we have to go this other way. Sorry about that. I would have done that, but it's going to come the other way. So we'll go this way, and we'll have to work with this. Okay, so if we place this is the arrangement. We have the plate, we have the embossing mat, we have our card on top, up to the fold. Stencil pattern. Remember, we are not going to remove the aperture stencil. Still going to leave that there. Stencil pattern over. Make sure it's not coming out because you don't want to ruin of the side of the plate, because you don't want to ruin your stencil. And then we have the last cutting plate. Just place it on top. I'm using setting 7, and I'm just going to start embossing. Finish embossing. I'm going to take the plate off, the pattern stencil, and we have a light embossed texture. I don't know if you can see it. Light is, it even appeared on the roof. You can see some part of it on the roof. That's fine. And we have some part on the bodies of, on the wall of the, we have some parts on the roof, and we have some parts on the wall of the house. So we're done with that. We've created our background. We need to work on the aperture next. And to work on the aperture, we're going to take this off and be careful so that we don't ruin our work. Bring a paint on it, so we have to be very, very careful. So we have a nice aperture. We are going to fill this aperture with a design to create, though it's like a frame, but it's an aperture because of the effect you are going to create. We're going to fill the aperture with a design to create the scenery. I'm going to put, so we need the layer trellis, we need the silhouette stencil. We need the layer trellis silhouette stencil, and that's this one. I'm going to line it properly so that it covers the design, and we have a work, and we work in the aperture. If you want to work on another card for this, that's all right, you can do that. Should we work on another card? For this, we need, no, I'm not going to work on another card. I want to make everything flat on one card. For this, we need the acrylic paints and the paint brushes. So I'm just going to line the card properly, the silhouette over the design first, and then I'll use the masking tape to stick it down. Just going to glue it to my work surface. Oh, sorry, I said glue. Stick it to the work surface. I'll make sure that the stencil is flat. So I'll be painting the sky. We don't need to paint much. So I'll be painting the sky. Dark blue to one side, just a little. Light blue. And we need white. So I'm taking number 5 brush. I'm just going to use the dark blue first. Just going to go around. Okay. I need to protect the roof of the house, so I'm going to slip in copier paper. To be careful, I have to arrange it. Okay. So I slipped in copier paper to protect the roof of the house. So just going to. You can put 2x crisscross stroke and do circular motion. Just paint with whatever stroke you are comfortable with. And whatever media you are comfortable with. I'm going to use the blue and the white. Just add it. Make one side darker and I'll leave a little bit of the other side light. I have to take care of the edge to make sure that I don't soil it. I should have placed the paper under, then put my card on top. So as we go towards the horizon, we'll make it light. So I'm going to add a little white to the blue. So while it's drying, I'm going to just move this and we'll make good use of time. So I'll move this, make sure you don't, I'll put this aside and then we'll do another painting. So just put it aside so that it dries. And I'll bring in the other stencil we use for the embellishment, but we need to paint this and allow it to dry. Although this is almost dried. These are leaf, variety leaves. Going to paint the leaf first. So which one? We just need a little leaf. So I use one of these. Using the green paint that we mixed earlier on, just going to dab in and we'll paint the leaf. If you don't want to put leaves, that's fine. If you want to cut a leaf from a green card, that is also nice. I just added the dark green, the teal green. I'm going to mix it a little with the leaf green, and I'm going to use it for some effect on the leaves. Just took a little bit of light blue. I needed to add a little highlight on the edge of some of the leaves. So just painted a leaf there. Oh, I don't know if it was too far. I'll paint another one so that I see it. I'll just paint another one in here. So it's on the paper. I didn't know that was far. So I'm just going to place a stencil. And using the leaf green, I'm going to pounce in. Then I have a little bit of teal green here in the middle. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of the leaf green. Just going to mix it to one side here. That's because I want a different effect on the leaf. So I'm just going to towards the middle of the leaf. Oh. So I'm going to paint another one here. Place the stencil and with the leaf green Need leaf green color. So I'll place a stencil, take the leaf green color, and just pouncing. You don't need the color to be too much. You can use a dry effect, dry brush effect. That would be nice too. Take the teal green. I have a little bit of teal green and leaf green here. I'm going to take little and mix it with the leaf green so that I have a different color shade. And I'm going to use it for the leaves. Just trying to create some dimension on the leaves. Then I'll take the light blue. Oh, I should have changed my brush, but that's no problem. And I'll just come into the tip of the leaves and paint to give it a little bit of highlight. From the tip to the middle. Just a little. If you don't want to use a light blue, you can use any color, maybe the color of the flora that you're going to put with it. You can use that. So take it and we have a nice leaf there. While the leaf is drying, I'll paint the blossom. So I just turn the paper to one side. It's using the same weight of paper. It's a large, and I'll paint the blossom here. So let me just change my brush. You can see it's green for the blossom. Let me see if I mix it. Okay, let me use another color. For the blossom, I'm going to use orange. No, yellow. Sorry. This yellow. So these are the colors I'm using for the blossom. I'm using the light red stroke orange, yellowish gold, and we have a light yellow here. Just adding the light yellow just to change the. Then I'm going to add white to it. I'm going to make the inner part of the petal. If we want to layer, we can do layering effect. That would be nice. Can do layering effect. The inner part is going to be darker, so take the a little of the yellow and the orange and mix them to one side. Add a little bit of the just going to paint towards the middle so that I have that brush stroke like the veins of the petal. Can even start from one end of the petal, swirl it around and bring it to give you that curve stroke, or you can just paint one half first, then you paint the other half, and you have nice brush stroke and a safe middle of the petal. So let's go closer for this. I put it in properly. So that's smaller petal, and I'm going to take the stencil and paint another petal here. That's going to be the second petal, the second layer of flower and blossom layer. So take the gold, mix into this one, add the red, add yellow, same color, and I'm going to add white. So now it's a lighter shade, very light. We'll use that for the second petal. And I'm going to paint it into the first petal area. That's because when we layer, I don't want the cream color part of the card showing. So we have our second petal there. First is more beautiful. Perhaps since I rushed over this, I'm going to line it and just work on it again. Okay. I think those two petals are enough. So I'm going to get a thin brush, very thin, and I'm going to add white streaks. Using a liner brush, we're going to add white streaks to the petal. So I'm just going to come in here. If you don't have a liner brush and you have a fan brush, you can do that. For white, a little bit of white. Painting from the inner part of the petal towards the tip, and towards the tip is going to feather out. You can paint from the outer part inwards too. You can depend on the effect you're trying to achieve. But I'm going to leave the middle, the smaller petal, like that. And this space here, I'm going to just dab it in, color it fully. Because the upper petal is going to cover it, and we don't want that yellow part showing, or the cream part of the Then we'll leave our flower to dry. So we have our embellishment, we have the flower, the blossom and the leaf. So we leave the embellishment to dry. Can add a little bit of white to this one, but not too much. While this gets dry, we'll bring in our we need to start painting the image. So I'll get the first stencil. The stencil we'll be using for this next process is the chicken stencil, the hen and cock with a white. For this chicken wire gauze, we're going to use black for it. We're not using this one first. That's because it's only the line out of the wire gauze that the color will come through. If we have to place the chicken, the hen and the cock on it, you won't see the cock. You will see it as if it will be a very sketchy design. So instead, we'll use the chicken first, and then we'll place the gauze over it. And when you do that, it will be, you're looking into the design. It all depends on how the stencil is. Like we are using the chicken first because the chicken has a cutout. It means that the color, when we paint, the color is going to come out. So I'm seeing which one we should use. I think we should use the cock here. So I'm going to place the cock here. And remember, you can flip your stencil. So going to paint with the cork. I'm just going to remember, we still have the silhouette stencil over the design. That's to protect the edges, the background of the design. We'll place the cork stencil, the cork or the cork rail stencil over it, and then we'll paint. For this, I'll be using brown. I'll just paint it into the green here. And I use dark and light. I'll use dark, light brown, and white. Okay, for the crown, I'll use red. Where's my red? I don't want it to be too bright, so I'll tone it a little. I'll use red for it. Just going to put white here. I need it. So I'm using 2 shades of brown. I use a flat brush to get into the detail here. So for this, I just take a little and mix it into the green. I just don't want to waste color. You don't need to do this. Okay, use this for the white. I'm just going to add a little bit of brown to the orange. The orange is too bright. I want to darken it. So make it brown. Let me see. Okay. And I use the orange for the crown. Just going to use the golden yellow for the beak. I'm going to take a peek. For the feet, I'm going to mix a light gray. Just going to put a black there. We still need more of the black later on. And I'll take white and mix into the black until it's light. Before it dries, I'm going to take white, and for the eyes, the pupil, I'm just going to put a white dot there. Using the smallest brush, can use a liner brush just to put for the eyes. Okay, and I'm going to add white effect on it. I'm using a liner brush. I'll just go scrub this white design. Can use from the gray. For the next step, I'm going to allow it to dry. I think I have too much paint there. So while it's drying, we still need to add detail to it. While it's drying, with the scissors, I'm going to cut. With the scissors, I'm just going to cut the flower, the blossom, and the leaf. Which is our leaf? Okay. Alternatively, you can just trace the leaf, cut it out, paint, and leave it to dry. So I need to cover this space here. I still have my green brush. So for the space there, I'm just going to dab some green. It's dried. Let's see if I can see. Okay, nice. So I've cut out the green. I need to cut out the others. The blossoms first. So while it's still drying, we'll form the petals. So using the bottle, I'm just going to use my hand, my palm, go around it in the middle gently, and we have a coiled flower. If you want to, you can paint the back too. If you want to, you can just paint the back. Using the medium size of the bottle, just go around it. Also, you can coil the petals to open them. Some people do use scissors, some use pen or pencil. So I've coiled the petals backward, and in the middle of the petal, just put the bottle and go around in a circular motion gently. Some do go up and down in straight lines, up and down, and then they'll go round and round. So this is the back of the petal, and we've made it a cup, and we'll have this inside, and the leaf will just be so I still need to add white to the. Let me take a peek and see if I still need white. Yes, I want to stretch. With the fan brush, I'm just going to tap into the white. And I'm just going to go still need a little white. So I'm going to take a little white and just thin, very thin. Just try and add highlight. Then the then a little bit of black and white, dark gray. So I'm going to add some, just make it a bit dark. I'm going to add it to the leg, just pounce a little just to add some shade. Take a pic. Remove the stencil and allow it to dry. We'll still leave the stencil on. Still leave the aperture stencil on. After that, we'll use our. We're going to place this. Okay. While it's drying, I'll take the brush. I need to mix. I just want to put some leaves. Put this aside. I just want to put some grasses. Sorry, grasses. Mix green. So I mix the two shades of green that I have, the teal green. Then I'll add a little bit of black to darken it. So holding the brush in, I'm just going to flick just to put some grasses. So it's not that big again. And if you want to, you can paint flowers there, but I'm not going to paint because I'm not going to paint a flower there because I'm just going to put this blossom here to as an embellishment. So I'm not going to paint there. We need to create a scenery, so I'll allow this to dry, then we'll place this over it. And so while it's drying, before we place that to make our scenery, I'm going to I want to make an edge. So I need black. I was planning on painting to the hen and the cockerel, but I just changed my mind. So I'm going to go around the edge with the black. I'm just going to tap. You have to be careful when you do this. We are just enhancing the aperture. You still need to leave it to dry like so, because we need to put the other marks on it. To enable us to create a scenery in our aperture. See how heavy paint here. So our motif, our design is dried. We need to paint the chicken girls. So I'm going to use white with a paintbrush. Just take white and dab it. I'll take a look and see if it's nice. If it's not nice, I'll paint the black I desire to paint with white. Forgot to stick it down. Stick the then. So I'm just going to take white paint. And remember, we still have the silhouette design protecting the background of the card. So I'm just going to take a peek. And here we have it. Oh, I love it. I won't use the black again. So here it is. I'll need to add black to the edge. Let me see. Okay, let's see. I just want to enhance the edges again with black. That's because I'm just going to use the same brush, or let me look for my black brush. Okay. I'm just going to enhance the edges with black again. That's because the wire from the chicken got into the black edge, and I want it to be as if the black edge is the wood or the border for the chicken So this black that I painted before, I'm just going to come back here and dab some black paint over it again, just to edge the design. Just going to tap in because the paint is not dry, and I need to give the if you're painting, don't forget to protect your work, your mat first before you glue things down. Now I have to wash this mat because I've stained it with paint. So I finished painting. Just going to take the silhouette off, the silhouette stencil off, take the paper, and we have our card. While it's drying, I'm going to clean this foam quickly. I'll need to wash it. Do not to soil the card now, that's why I cleaned. So while it's drying, I'm going to place the... Let's go and see, have a closer look. Okay. So while it's drying, we already have our aperture, we have the background, And we have when it's right, if you still want to go over the background, you can go. If you want to use if you decide you don't want this color, this multi color, you want to go just plain color round it again, you can do that. Or remember to put the aperture, the marks over to create protect the aperture design. So here we have the flower. I'm just going to glue the flowers together while the painting dries. Little flower, the center of the flower, the smaller petal. I'm going to place glue in the middle of the larger petal and place this. I alternate it to create a nice dimension. And when we glue it, so this side's a bit dry, so I'm just going to put some glue at the back of the leaf, liquid glue. Just going to place it here. I'm going to place glue at the back of the large petal. You can use foam pads if you want to. And then I'll place it here. If you don't want to go for the flower, that's fine. You can just make only leaves, different color of leaves, especially during the Thanksgiving, during the autumn season. You can just do different colors of leaves instead of blossoms or blooms. So here is our card. Surprisingly, it's beautiful. Let me praise myself. So thanks for joining me for this video of 12 crafts of card making, technique of stenciling, combined as a background, aperture, scenic, and embellishment card design. This puts season 2 of 12 crafts of card making, or series 2 of 12 crafts of card making, technique of stenciling, to an end. In season 3 or series 3, we will be using the sewing machine. We'll be doing the technique of stitching, piercing and stitching. So until next time, you can visit the blog anino-ogunjobi.com to keep up with what is happening. You can visit the blog anino-ogunjobi.com to keep up with what is happening in the crafting industry. Until next time, happy crafting, happy designing, and bye for now. Once again, thank you for joining me for season 2. I truly enjoyed it. Let's get our sewing machine ready, our needles ready for season 3 or series 3 of 12 crafts of card making, the technique of piercing and stitching. Thank you. Bye for now.